Hey, it's the Paul Bearer here, and if you don't mind, I'd like to do a video that I've been wanting to make for a while now. I just never got around to it. Been a bit lazy. But anyway, I'm gonna get right to it. I'm going to make this video in defense of one of my favorite music genres, which is electronic music. Um, or EDM, or whatever kind of name people tend to call it. A lot of people call it techno. They've been calling it techno for years, even though techno itself is a subgenre of electronic music. It's a totally different style than all the other genres that come along with it, like house and trance and jungle and drum and bass, dubstep, all that other stuff. And that's another point. A lot of people now are now calling it dubstep, like anything that has any kind of electronic sound that has that hard hitting bass, the doom 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 doom, the drop as they call it, anything that has some sort of hard hitting or techno sound to it, it's called dubstep now. And one of the main points I want to bring up is that a lot of people are very ignorant when it comes to defining music, or you know having criticisms and judgments and assumptions about certain types of music. Now, music is universal. It's meant for everybody. There's something out there for everyone to listen to. You know, there's nothing there's nothing out there that you should hold back from, because there are so many different sounds, so many different concepts to what music can be. I don't think there's any limit to what people can do in terms of creating music and making sounds and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It can be so much more than what people assume it to be. Now, I'm gonna you know I'm gonna make this video to defend electronic music, because it is my favorite genre of all time. If you look in my MP3, you'll see that almost all of the songs that I have are more or less electronic based. I've been a fan of it ever since I can remember. You know what I mean? It started with the early Eurodance tracks. I was really hooked on those because they were very, very popular back in the early '90s. Throughout the '90s, and then it came with the trance music and the house music and everything else. So yeah, I've always been a lifelong fan of that. I consider myself a true fan, a true person who is influenced by that type of music. But but in all honesty, I'm influenced by all types of music. It's not just the electronic music. It's like, I'm trying to say that all the different types of music, they're all influenced by each other in one way or another. And that's the truth. They all listen to earlier stuff, and they take from that. They're influenced by that. It inspires them to change their sound up so that it doesn't always sound the same, and that's always a good thing. But I really want to talk about the arguments that some people make who like to bash electronic music, EDM, because they don't understand it. They don't get the premise of it, because they have too many assumptions. They're very ignorant. They don't take the time to really look at it and see what it's all about. They just don't get it at all. You know what I mean? They hear it, and then they think that they have some sort of huge opinion. you know but some of the arguments, I have them here, that I'm gonna say, and then I'm gonna try to debunk them, because a lot of these arguments that people make, they're just stupid. They're ignorant. Okay, so the first one is, a lot of people say this, that it's just a bunch of noise. Oh, it's just a bunch of noise, man. It's not music. Come on, it's just a whole bunch of rackety stuff, man. It's just a bunch of noise. Okay, it's not just a bunch of noise. you know, music itself is more or less, just a bunch of noise. Um, just because it has a electronic sound to it doesn't make it any less music. You know, I mean, depending on what kind of music that you're listening to, yeah, it might come off as, something that's just noisy and rambunctious, and it sounds like a damn ruckus. But nonetheless, I don't think it's right for anyone to say that it's just a bunch of noise. Like that's what a lot of people say about dubstep. You know, a lot of people say that, oh, it's just a bunch of noise. It sounds like they say that it sounds like Transformers having sex or whatever. But that's I mean, of course, it's their opinion, and I know that everyone has a right to their opinion. That's fine, but it just comes off as ignorant when you have a certain opinion about something, but it comes off as stupid because you don't there's nothing to back it up. You know what I mean? So yeah, when they say it's a bunch of noise, they're not really taking the time to look at the, the 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 time that it takes to make that kind of music, and what really has to go down in order to make that type of sound. You know, it's one thing to say that it's noise, but it's another to really look at it for what it is. And look at it from an artistic point of view, and see it for what that is. You know what I mean? Another argument that they make is that it's not music. Electronic music, that's not music. Come on, where's that's not music. It's just a bunch of electronic sounds. Beep, boop, boop, bop, 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 boop, 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 bop. It's like pressing a bunch of, um, yeah. They say that electronic music is just a bunch of random buttons being pushed, and that you're just turning knobs or whatever. And that's definitely not the case. It takes it's let me say this. Electronic music is just as much music as rock music, as hip hop, as jazz, as any of the other types of genres of music. It doesn't, you can't really discredit electronic music just because it sounds different from any other genre. That's not fair, you know. I think I think electronic music takes just as much talent to make as any other kind of music, probably even more. You could debate that, but I hate when people say that because it's really it just comes off as ignorant. All of these people, all these claims that people make about electronic music, because they don't have the time to really look at it and listen to it and see what is done in order for it to have the sound that it has. You know, you can't say it's not music. It's just a different style. You know what I mean? It's a different style of music, and so who are you to really say that it's music or not? Like I could say rock music isn't music because it's just a bunch of noise. See, I'm using the same arguments, but they're not valid. You know what I mean? It's like when people say it's not electronic music. That's not music. You're just pressing buttons and turning knobs. That's the argument that they make. But then I could say, oh, rock, that's not music. You're just picking strings on a guitar. That's not talent, huh? It's the same argument that they would make, and they would probably get all mad and be like, "Hey man, you give a diss and rock, man. Rock it out." And I love rock, by the way. I love all genres of music. I would never be one to, you know, love one genre and then bash the other. There's no need for that. Sorry. Even if I wasn't a fan of rock, I wouldn't be one to just openly bash it for no reason. You know what I mean? I respect it, and of course I listen to it. There's no reason to discredit someone for having a different style of music. I love Daft Punk, but I also like Dillinger Escape Plan or Linkin Park or any other kind of rock band. You know, different styles. You know, there are a lot of electronic guys who are influenced by rock. There are a lot of rock guys who are influenced by electronic music. Why does there have to be so much conflict? I don't get it. Can't we just all live together in harmony? See what I did there? This little harmony, get it? Music reference. But anyway, um, okay. Uh, the next argument that they make, they said that it takes no skill. They say that electronic music, oh man, that's just computers, man. Takes no skill. You can't, playing a guitar that takes skill. And they do have a point. Certain uh, uh, certain types of music take a little more time to make than others. It's true, but it doesn't make it more or less talented. You know what I mean? Like I said before, it's a different style of music. So with a different style of music, it's a different premise. There are certain things that they have to go through in order to get the sound that they want. I don't think it really matters how much time you really put into it, as long as you're using as long as you're using your fullest potential and all the talent that you can to make the best sounds possible. And as long as your heart is into it, what does it really matter? You know, a skill is a skill. If you have a talent and you use it for whatever, then you should do it. I don't think it's right for anyone to say that it takes no skill, because I myself, I like to dabble with the electronic music, the whole production aspect of it. I have a demo of Ableton Live that I use a lot, and it's definitely not as easy as people think it is. People think that I'm just copying and pasting and stuff like that, and that's definitely not the case. It takes a lot of work. I have to be able to, make the right beats. I have to be able to draw certain types of beats. Does this melody go with this beat and stuff like that? Like I said, it's a different process. It's a different style of music. It's not going to be the usual. Okay, give me a melody and let's see where we can go over there. Let's see if we could get the drums like this. It's the same thing, honestly. But it's just a different way of going about it. It's a different method. But it doesn't make it any less talented. Of course not. That's like saying someone like Paul McCartney couldn't make electronic music. As talented as Paul McCartney is, I'm thinking he probably could make electronic music if he really wanted to. You know, it's not to discredit Paul McCartney. He's a legend, and I'm pretty sure, like I said, as talented as he is, he could make an electronic album, and it would be just as good as any of the other stuff that he's done over the years. Beatles, for God's sake, legends, Wings. So yeah, another argument that they make. This has to do with sampling. They say that with sampling, oh man, you're just stealing music, man. You can't do that. You're stealing people's music and calling it your own, man. That's not right. See, a lot of people don't understand that sampling is an art form. Sampling is an art form just as music itself is an art form. You know? I even used to think that sampling itself was stealing, and that that it didn't take any talent to just take a piece of somebody else's music and change it up a little bit and call it your own. That's the mindset that these people tend to have. That these I don't want to say haters, but these critics have of electronic music. They say that, oh, you take someone else's song and you just put a small little beat over it and you call it your own. No, that's not the case. It's it's taking something else and creating something new from it. That's what sampling is. Now, there are different ways you can go about sampling. With hip hop, it's a different it's the same thing, but they have a different way of going about cutting and mixing and sampling and stuff like that. And with house music, it's a different thing as well. But yeah, I would never call it stealing. There are some cases where um, someone will take a sample but not give the person credit. I don't agree with that. You have to be able to ask permission for a sample, and be able to use it right and give the person credit for it. That's You have to do that because as I've seen with a lot of electronic guys, they know how to really do justice to a sample, and they know how to pay tribute. because that's really what it comes down to. They're paying tribute to a to a to an artist that they like or they listen to. Because why else would they be taking a sample if they didn't, you know, have a an appreciation for that artist, you know? It's just common sense, you know? Why would someone want to steal somebody else's work and, you know, try to, you know, become famous off of it, you know? But, you know, it could go either way, because I feel like some other artists who sample, I don't think that they're being original or creative enough, but that's something else entirely. But I'm just talking about in terms of electronic music. I don't think it's stealing at all. I think it's, you know, like I said, it's the name of the game. With French house, that's all that they do. They use samples, and they really know how to make it work with the music. So yeah, I'm totally fine with that. You know, that's French house. That's the name of the game. That's what comes with the music. And the last argument that they make is that electronic guys use machines instead of instruments, you know. But if you really think about it, um, all types of instruments start off, you know. I mean, every type of instrument more or less has some sort of electronic uh, 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 base to it, you know. Like with an electric guitar, you gotta plug it into an amplifier, you know. With a microphone is electronic, so what do you call that? Um, like I said, electronic music is not what you think it is. It's just as much music as the music that you like, which whatever that is, you know. Who's to say that, you know, electronic guys and artists have no talent because they have a different style of music than everybody else? That's not fair to the guys who work their asses off to make good records, and they have and they go about and they try and, you know, make hit records and stuff like that, and then you have people criticizing them because they don't understand the music that they make. It's not fair, you know. Electronic music is just as much music as every other genre, you know. And I have found hundreds and hundreds of classic songs, and, you know, songs that had meaning, you know, because all most of the sorry, most electronic songs are not just dance songs. That's another misconception, that a lot of that's just a bunch of dance songs, you know, you know. It's not just that. It's not just, you know, the rave music that everybody used to know that it was. It's not. It's evolved. It's become much more than that. I mean, you know, it's evolved through the years. You know, when it first started out with, you know, the early pioneers of Kraftwerk and Jean-Michel Jarre and Giorgio Moroder, you know, Armand Van Helden, Daft Punk, and to what it is now. And it's bigger than ever. And I think that's a good thing, you know? So that way people will start to take it more seriously. And I hope people can do that, you know? Because it's just as much music as any other type of genre. It's not fair. People need to start realizing that music is music. You know, anything, more or less, anything can be music, as long as you have a passion for it, and you can make something great out of it. Then it's music. It's a sound. Snapping my fingers, that's music, you know. Using my voice in some way is more or less music. So electronic music is music, no matter what anybody says. So yeah, that's my video defending electronic music. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.